Orphan First Kill. After orchestrating a brilliant escape from an Estonian psychiatric facility, Esther travels to America by impersonating the missing daughter of a wealthy family. Hey, what is up guys? It's me, Anthony, here to give you guys another movie review, and we're talking about the movie that everybody has been waiting for. A prequel to a cult classic film that had some controversy back in the day. And it's kind of weird that they chose to do this movie now, randomly. I don't know. They're just trying to think of ways that they can get content for Paramount Plus, because that's where I watched this film. Currently in the United States, you can watch Orphan First Kill. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about this movie. We're going to get to it, but I'm thinking about it and I'm still it's confused. But you can watch it on Paramount Plus for free in the States, and I recommend that you watch it there. But hey, you might think it is. You're a fan of the original. And I think if you are a fan of the original, then you're going to like this film. At least I think so. I haven't seen the original all the way through. As of making this video, I'm like halfway there. I paused it and I said, you know what? I need to talk about this before I forget, because there is some crazy stuff that we got to talk about in this film. And honestly, I kind of think this is my guilty pleasure of 2022. So like I said, I had never seen the original film, but I had heard about it back when it first released in 2009. And I know that it's grown a cult following over the years. I just talked to my wife before watching this movie, and I was like, have you ever seen this movie? And she's like, yeah, I've seen this movie, and it's kind of freaking creepy. And I was like, okay. And she told me all the stuff that was happening. You know, there's some weird love stuff going on between the young actress and some adults, and I was like, what the heck is happening? What am I getting myself into? So going into this film, I was expecting some bonkers stuff, but I was not expecting the bonkersness that we got out of this film. And I loved it. I love when they do stuff like this. And I gotta say, I think that this movie unintentionally became a comedy to me, because there were so many moments throughout the film that I was just laughing, out loud. And I was like, this isn't supposed to be funny, but it's hilarious. There's just so many aspects of this film that I can't really spoil, because it will just ruin the experience for you, the journey, the ride that I went on, that you need to experience. But there's certain scenes in here that just create comic gold for me and are not explained. But I really like that they're not explained, because it just adds more to the funniness. Like, there is a couple of things in here that I could talk about without giving spoilers. There is a animal in this film. It's a mouse. It's not spoilers, mouse in here. And I'm so confused why this mouse is in this movie. It's there. It comes up, reoccurring scenes. And to me, I think there's no purpose for the mouse. Until one scene in particular. And the whole time I was like, okay. After watching that scene, I was like, okay, so this mouse was introduced just for that scene. And if that mouse wasn't there, the scene that occurred would be totally different. So it's kind of like a coincidental mouse just showed up. Okay. And there's just a lot of stuff here that if you were really analyzing this film and getting deep into it, the script, the writing, the plot, everything, you would find so many plot holes that you wouldn't have enough story to fill it all up. But again, it just adds to the funniness and the campiness of the film. But I know that some people are not going to do it like that. So just a forewarning, if you are the type of person that watches movies and you are, you want your horror to be tight and specific, you want the plot to be very tight, you want the editing to be tight, you want the story to be tight, don't watch this film because you're not going to get it here. But before we get down that road of negativity and talking about how this movie is bad, because it is bad, guys. I mean, I'm not here to pretend and tell you guys that this is a good film, but I enjoyed it. I had some fun with it. Not maybe for the reasons why the filmmakers and everybody involved wanted me to be, liking it, but I did. And one of the aspects that I actually enjoyed, that I think that the film does well, is the fake outs that it does. And it might be just because of me, a person that hasn't watched the Orphan series before, that I didn't really expect these kind of turns of events. Maybe they explain that in the other film, but this stuff that came out of nowhere, the surprises, the shocks that came in this film, I was like, whoa. I was kind of taken aback. I was like, that's actually pretty good. They did a pretty good job. And the movie does it at 2 points of the film. In the beginning of the film and towards the middle of the film, they have two big surprises that, like I said, caught me off guard. And I was very pleasantly surprised. And I was like, you know what? I kind of like that. Another thing I like about this film is that Esther, our villain, quote unquote, you'll know when you watch the movie why I did quotation, but she isn't in like god tier mode like I thought she was going to be throughout the entire film. You know, I was expecting her to be like this savant of like evil geniusness, going around doing everything perfectly, and people are not going to notice that she looks like a 25-year-old but pretending to be a 10-year-old kid. But to my pleasant surprise, they actually show that Esther is kind of like not really good at what she's doing. You know, she's trying to pretend to be a little kid of this family, and she messes up quite a bit in the film, and there's repercussions for that. And I really like that in the film that they actually showed somebody that, you know, this is their first time. I mean, hence the name of the movie, right? First Kill, which, again, I don't think is necessarily accurate, but hey, we'll go with it. But yeah, I like that part about the film, that they just weren't afraid to show Esther as a vulnerable place, and that she's not really the mastermind that she might end up being in the later film. Now that leads us into the problems I have with the film. And again, this one that I'm going to talk about, it might have been just me. You know, I just missed it, or they talk about it in the first film, technically the second film, but they don't really explain why Esther is a killer. Like, why is she killing people? Why is she violent like this? Again, this might have been something that I missed. I was making breakfast in the beginning of the film, and I did overhear that they were talking about her past, but they didn't really specifically say why she became this dangerous person in the first place. Again, don't roast me too much. Maybe they explained this in the first film, but I thought that was a really important thing that they need to establish, because you want us to believe that this girl is like, you know, crazy and she's a psychotic killer and she's doing all these, you know, evil things, but you don't really put that much effort into what I think, you know, your most important character, and give us some backstory of why she is the way she is. But the biggest problem that I have with this film, and it's not really that much of a negative, but it did take me out of the film a couple times, literally right in the beginning of the film, is that they didn't do anything to her to make her look younger. And I know she looks young, you know, she doesn't look her age, but she also doesn't look like she's 10 years old or 11 or 12 or whatever age that she's supposed to be portrayed in here. She looks like an adult, at least to me. So I appreciate, you know, I saw some interviews and read some, you know, articles and stuff about how they didn't want to use any CGI and de-age her or anything, but they do bring in like little kids to play her, you know, from the back when they shoot her from the back and show her like running or something like that. That's played by a little kid. That's not actually her. But it's just really daunting, and it kind of took me out of the movie a couple of times. And again, I appreciate them, you know, recasting the original actress and putting her back into this role. But if you look at her now and you look at her in the original Orphan, that you could tell she's not a kid anymore. Overall, guys, I think that Orphan First Kill is, you know, it's a good time. You know, if you're not looking for something too serious, and if you're looking for, you know, more Orphan, if you're a fan of the original, then I think you're going to like this. This movie is not that good, you know, and if you really want to analyze it, it's not a good movie, but I would be lying if I didn't have a heck of a time with it. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my Twitter so you can stay up to date with my channel. And remember, guys, keep watching movies.